For many air fryer owners, what was supposed to be a simple kitchen appliance has turned up with unexpected concern. More and more users are reporting units overheating during use, developing electrical faults, or failing far sooner than expected, raising serious questions about how reliable these appliances really are. So as those complaints piled up, certain brands kept appearing again and again. That repetition prompted us to take a closer look. Once we examined the evidence, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Some brands showed clear signs of faulty design, linked to electrical failures, overheating, and serious reliability problems. Based on those findings, this video breaks down 8 air fryer brands you should avoid and explains why so many owners say they wish they'd never bought them. 8. Typhur Air Fryer. For many UK shoppers, a Typhur air fryer feels like a safe, sensible choice. It's a familiar British brand name, widely stocked by major retailers, often priced to feel affordable without looking cheap. For households trying to cook a bit healthier without spending too much, Typhur is frequently the brand people land on. That trust is exactly why the complaints around Typhur air fryers are so concerning. If you look through long-term owner reviews and consumer feedback, a pattern begins to emerge. Many users describe air fryers that work fine at first, then gradually start behaving unpredictably, units cutting out mid-cook, controls becoming unresponsive, bases and casings becoming unusually hot during normal use. More worrying are the repeated reports of overheating. Some owners describe a burning smell during cooking. Others report the appliance shutting itself down repeatedly or becoming too hot to safely touch on the outside. These are not complaints about food quality, they are complaints about basic electrical safety. Typhur air fryers have also been linked to official UK safety recalls, issued due to fire risk and overheating concerns on certain models. That matters because recalls don't happen lightly. They usually follow a clear risk assessment that something could go seriously wrong under normal household use. What unsettles many owners is how common these issues appear across different models. Reviews don't describe a single faulty batch or a one-off defect. Instead, the same problems show up again and again. Inconsistent temperature control, components failing early, and units breaking down shortly after the warranty period ends. For older households in particular, this raises an important question. An appliance designed to sit on a kitchen counter, draw high heat, and operate near flammable surfaces should inspire confidence. When multiple users are reporting overheating, electrical faults, and premature failure, that confidence starts to erode. Typhur air fryers may look reliable on the shelf, but the volume and consistency of complaints suggest deeper design and quality control issues. That's why this brand earns its place on this list. Not because every unit fails, but because too many people report problems that simply shouldn't happen in a trusted household appliance. And if you think this is worrying, the next brand on this list has raised even more serious concerns. 7. Cosori Air Fryer. Cosori air fryers are often marketed as modern, premium, and reliable. Sleek designs, digital controls, and strong online promotion have helped the brand build a reputation as a step up from cheaper alternatives. For many buyers, Cosori feels like a safe upgrade, something better built, better engineered, and more dependable. When you look beyond the marketing and into long-term user experiences, a very different picture begins to emerge. Complaints frequently mention units overheating during normal use, emitting burning smells, or suddenly shutting off mid-cook. Some users describe air fryers that appear to function normally for months, only to develop serious electrical issues without warning. Cosori has also been at the center of large-scale safety recalls in other markets, triggered by fire and overheating risks. While not every recalled model is sold in the UK, many share similar designs, components, and internal layouts. For consumers, that raises uncomfortable questions about whether the same underlying issues exist across the wider product range. What stands out most in reviews is how often problems appear without misuse. Owners describe following instructions carefully, using the appliance exactly as intended, yet still experiencing failures. Melted internal components, cracked housings, and control panels that stop responding altogether are recurring themes. For a device that operates at high temperatures on a kitchen counter, these aren't minor inconveniences. Electrical instability and overheating carry real risk, especially in homes where appliances may be left running while other tasks are being done nearby. Another common frustration is longevity. Many Cosori air fryers seem to fail just outside the warranty period. That timing leaves owners facing replacement costs rather than repairs, and it adds to the growing sense that durability may have been sacrificed in favor of features and appearance. Cosori air fryers aren't cheap impulse buys. People choose them expecting peace of mind. But the volume and consistency of complaints suggest that trust may be misplaced for some models, which is why this brand lands firmly on the list. The next brand shows how problems don't always stop at premium pricing. 6. Salter Air Fryer. Salter is a name many UK households recognise instantly. It's been around for decades, associated with kitchen scales, cookware and everyday essentials. When that familiar name appears on an air fryer box, it creates a sense of reassurance. This feels like a brand that knows kitchens, understands home cooking and wouldn't cut corners. That's the expectation. The reality for many owners appears very different. When complaints about Salter air fryers began surfacing online, they weren't dramatic at first. They were subtle, people mentioning food cooking unevenly, chips browning on one side but remaining pale on the other, chicken needing far longer than the instructions suggested. On their own, these reviews didn't seem alarming, but as more feedback accumulated, the same issues kept repeating. Owners describe temperature controls that don't seem to match what the display claims. Some report that the air fryer runs much hotter than expected, while others say it struggles to maintain heat at all. Over time, baskets begin to warp, drawers stop sliding smoothly, and the appliance starts to feel unstable during use. One of the most common complaints is the smell. Numerous users mention a strong plastic or chemical odor during cooking, sometimes persisting long after the first few uses. For an appliance designed to heat food in an enclosed space, that raises obvious concerns. Reliability is another recurring issue. Many Salter air fryers appear to work acceptably at first, then degrade quickly. Buttons stop responding properly, timers behave unpredictably. Units shut down unexpectedly or fail to turn on at all. Crucially, these problems often emerge just outside the warranty window. What makes this particularly troubling is how often buyers say they chose Salter specifically to avoid these kinds of problems. They weren't chasing the cheapest option. They were buying a trusted name, expecting solid engineering and long-term dependability. Instead, the pattern that emerges is one of cost-cutting, lightweight materials, inconsistent internal components, design choices that prioritize price over durability. Salter air fryers don't fail dramatically in every case. That's what makes the issue harder to spot. The problems creep in slowly through inconsistency, premature wear, and declining performance until the appliance simply isn't safe or reliable to use anymore. And as you'll see next, familiarity alone isn't the only thing that can mislead buyers. Sometimes even brands that look solid on paper come with deeper issues hiding underneath. 5. Insignia Air Fryer. Insignia air fryers are often chosen by people who want something straightforward. The branding is muted, the features are basic, and the pricing suggests practicality rather than experimentation. For many buyers, that simplicity feels reassuring. This doesn't look like a gimmick. It looks like an appliance designed to quietly do its job. That perception is exactly why the complaints surrounding Insignia air fryers deserve closer attention. When owners began sharing their experiences online, the concerns were not minor inconveniences. Many described air fryers that became dangerously hot during routine cooking, with outer casings warming far beyond what felt normal or safe. Some users reported having to unplug the unit mid-cook because the heat buildup didn't feel right. There is also a history of fire and burn-related recalls in other markets tied to Insignia air fryers. Recalls of this nature are not issued casually. They typically follow investigations showing a genuine risk under ordinary household conditions. While not every recalled model appears in UK stores, similar designs and internal layouts are often shared across regions, which raises uncomfortable questions for cautious buyers. Structural and electrical reliability is another recurring theme. Owners report cracked plastic housings, baskets that degrade or deform, and control panels that suddenly stop responding. In some cases, the appliance powers down without warning and refuses to turn back on. In others, it continues running but behaves unpredictably, a particularly worrying scenario in a high heat device. What makes these reports especially troubling is how often they come from careful users. Reviews repeatedly emphasize that the air fryer was used exactly as instructed. No overloading, no misuse, no modifications, and yet serious faults still developed. There is also a consistent frustration around lifespan. Many Insignia air fryers appear to fail shortly after the warranty period ends. For buyers, this creates a sense that durability was never a priority and that replacement, not repair, was always the expectation. Before we continue, if you're finding this breakdown useful, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps more people find clear, practical information before they buy. Insignia air fryers may present themselves as sensible, dependable appliances, but the volume and nature of complaints suggest deeper design and quality control issues. When an appliance is expected to operate safely at high temperatures, unpredictability is not something consumers should have to accept. As we move forward, the next brand shows that even well-known names with long histories are not immune to the same kinds of problems. 4. Hamilton Beach Air Fryer. Hamilton Beach is a name that carries weight for many households. It's been around for decades and is often associated with dependable, no-nonsense kitchen appliances. For buyers trying to avoid cheap, unfamiliar brands, Hamilton Beach feels like a sensible middle ground, established, experienced, and unlikely to cut corners. That reputation is precisely why the problems surrounding Hamilton Beach air fryers are so concerning. When you begin reviewing long-term owner feedback, one of the most consistent issues raised is unstable temperature control. Many users describe air fryers that struggle to maintain a steady cooking temperature. Food may burn unexpectedly during one cook, then come out underdone the next, even when the same settings are used. Over time, this inconsistency stops feeling like a minor annoyance and starts to suggest deeper issues with heat regulation. More troubling are the recurring complaints about electrical reliability. Owners report units shutting off mid-cycle without warning, displays flickering or resetting on their own, and control panels becoming unresponsive. In some cases, the air fryer restarts itself. In others, it powers down completely and refuses to turn back on. In a high-heat appliance designed to operate unattended for short periods, unpredictability is not a small problem. It's a safety concern. Structural durability is another area where complaints cluster. Drawers that no longer slide smoothly, baskets that loosen or warp, plastic components that degrade faster than expected. Several users mentioned that their air fryer felt solid at first, but gradually began to feel unstable with regular use. What frustrates many owners is that they didn't choose Hamilton Beach for its price alone. They chose it because they believed they were paying for engineering experience and long-term reliability. Instead, a significant number of reviews suggest products that struggle to hold up under normal family cooking routines. There's also a recurring sense of uncertainty expressed by owners once problems begin. When an appliance behaves erratically, overheating one day, cutting out the next, people start questioning whether it's safe to keep using at all. That loss of confidence is telling. Hamilton Beach air fryers aren't universally defective. Many work as expected. But the issue isn't about isolated failures, it's about patterns. When similar complaints surface across different models and different households, it points away from user error and toward design and quality control decisions. And as we move closer to the top of this list, the next brand shows how aggressive marketing can sometimes mask even more serious problems. 3. Power XL Air Fryer. Power XL air fryers are difficult to avoid. They're everywhere. Online ads, television promotions, and prominently featured product listings promising faster cooking, larger capacity, and restaurant-style results at home. Over time, that constant presence creates a sense of familiarity. Many buyers come to see Power XL as a proven name simply because it's so visible. However, once you move beyond the marketing and start examining long-term owner experiences, a much less reassuring picture begins to form. One of the most common themes in reviews is poor build quality over time. Many users describe air fryers that perform well initially, then gradually begin to deteriorate. Buttons stop responding properly, touch panels become unreliable, and digital displays flicker or fail entirely. These issues often emerge after a relatively short period of regular use. Heat management is another frequent concern. Owners report air fryers becoming excessively hot on the outside during longer cooking cycles, sometimes accompanied by a burning smell. Some units shut themselves down repeatedly, while others continue running despite obvious overheating. In both cases, users are left questioning whether the appliance is safe to keep using. Concerns about the non-stick coating also appear repeatedly. Numerous reviews mention the coating peeling or flaking far earlier than expected. For an appliance designed to cook food in an enclosed high-temperature environment, this raises serious questions about what may be released into the air and onto the food during everyday use. Performance consistency is another issue. Many Power XL air fryers struggle to cook food evenly, requiring frequent shaking, restarting, or adjustment. Over time, owners report that the appliance becomes less predictable rather than more reliable, undermining the very convenience it's supposed to offer. What frustrates many buyers is the gap between expectation and reality. The marketing suggests durability, precision, and ease. The experiences described by long-term owners point to products that wear down quickly and lose reliability piece by piece. Power XL air fryers rarely fail in a single dramatic moment. Instead, problems accumulate. Gradually, a control issue here, a heat problem there, until the appliance no longer inspires confidence. That slow decline is easy to overlook at first, but difficult to ignore once safety and reliability come into question. Taken together, the volume and consistency of these complaints place Power XL air fryers firmly on this list. When an appliance relies so heavily on marketing to sell confidence but struggles to deliver long-term dependability, consumers are left dealing with the consequences. And as we approach the top of this list, the next brand shows how high price and premium positioning don't always mean better design. 2. Typhur air fryer. Typhur air fryers are marketed very differently from most brands on this list. They position themselves as premium appliances. Higher price, modern design, advanced features, and the promise of precision cooking. For buyers who want to avoid cheap mass-market products, Typhur can feel like a deliberate step up. That positioning creates high expectations. When owners begin sharing their experiences, however, a noticeable gap appears between what the product promises and how it performs in everyday kitchens. One of the most common complaints involves temperature inconsistency. Users describe food cooking unevenly, despite precise digital settings, with some areas overcooking while others remain underdone. For a brand selling precision, this is a serious red flag. Another recurring issue is complexity without reliability. Many owners report that the extra features make the air fryer harder to use rather than easier. Settings reset unexpectedly, programs behave unpredictably, and controls don't always respond as intended. Instead of simplifying cooking, the appliance often requires constant monitoring and adjustment. Cleaning is another major point of frustration. Despite being marketed as thoughtfully designed, users describe awkward internal shapes, difficult to reach surfaces, and components that trap grease and residue. Over time, this not only becomes inconvenient but raises hygiene concerns in a high-heat food appliance. There are also complaints about longevity, especially given the price. Several owners report faults developing far sooner than expected, including control panel failures and internal components wearing out quickly. For an appliance positioned as premium, short lifespan is particularly disappointing. What unsettles many buyers is the feeling that Typhur prioritized appearance and feature lists over durability. Reviews often mention that the air fryer looks impressive out of the box, but fails to hold up under regular use. Typhur air fryers aren't unsafe in every case. Many people use them without incident, but when repeated complaints point to instability, inconsistency, and premature failure, especially at a premium price point, it raises legitimate concerns. That's why Typhur lands at number 2 on this list. Finally, the number 1 brand is the one that surprises most people because it's already sitting in millions of UK kitchens. One Ambiano air fryer. Ambiano air fryers are everywhere in the UK. They're sold through Aldi, often at prices that feel almost too good to pass up. For many households, Ambiano is the first air fryer they ever buy. It looks simple, affordable, and practical, exactly what you'd expect from a supermarket own-brand appliance. That popularity is why Ambiano sits at the top of this list. When you look through consumer reviews and complaint forums, Ambiano air fryers generate a striking volume of negative feedback compared to most other brands. Not just a few isolated complaints, but repeated reports describing the same problems across different models and different years. One of the most common issues raised is temperature instability. Owners describe air fryers that suddenly run far hotter than expected, even when set to moderate settings. Others report the opposite, units that struggle to reach or maintain heat, resulting in unpredictable cooking times. In a high-heat appliance, that kind of inconsistency is more than a nuisance. Electrical reliability is another major concern. Many users report air fryers cutting out mid-cook, refusing to turn back on or shutting down repeatedly without warning. Some describe crackling noises, strong burning smells, or units becoming dangerously hot on the outside. These are the kinds of reports that immediately raise safety questions. Build quality complaints are widespread. Lightweight materials, flimsy baskets, loose drawers, and control knobs that degrade quickly are mentioned again and again. Several owners say the air fryer felt fine initially, but deteriorated rapidly with regular use, sometimes within months. What makes this especially troubling is how Ambiano air fryers are often treated as disposable. When they fail, many users don't repair them, they replace them. That cycle masks the true scale of the problem, allowing the same issues to repeat with each new release. Because Ambiano air fryers are sold in such large numbers, even a small design flaw can affect millions of households. And when complaints point to overheating, electrical faults, and short lifespan, the scale alone makes this brand impossible to ignore. Ambiano air fryers aren't on this list because they're cheap. They're here because of the sheer volume and consistency of serious complaints tied to everyday use in real UK kitchens. That's why Ambiano takes the number 1 spot. When the same complaints appear again and again, overheating, electrical faults, sudden failures, short lifespans, across thousands of households, those patterns matter, especially when the appliance in question operates at high temperatures, often unattended, in the middle of the home. What this investigation shows is that brand choice matters far more than most people realize. Some manufacturers prioritize durability, safety controls, and long-term reliability. Others prioritize price, speed to market, or appearance, and the problems only surface months later once warranties expire. If you already own one of the brands on this list, this isn't about panic. Pay attention to warning signs, unusual heat, burning smells, unpredictable behavior. If something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct. And if you're thinking of buying an air fryer in the future, don't rush. Look beyond the box. Look at long-term reviews, recall history, and how often owners report the same faults. Cheap appliances are rarely cheap in the long run. Most importantly, remember this: a kitchen appliance should never make you feel unsure about your own safety. If this video helped you understand what to look out for, please like the video. It helps more people see it. If you want clear, honest breakdowns like this before you buy everyday products, subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who owns one of these air fryers, share this with them. It could genuinely make a difference. Let me know in the comments which appliance or brand you'd like investigated next.